Randy Roberson with you for KRIM's Community Spotlight, and normally on Fridays now we've been featuring your hometown movie guys, Tina, Craig, and Andy, but Tina and Andy aren't able to be with us this morning, but Craig Ever-Stalwart is with us in the studio. And Craig, how's life at the Sawmill Theaters? I know things are going to be pretty quiet right now with the closure.
Pretty quiet, yeah. It's,
Have you had any not much, just me and the crickets? I mean, have you heard anything new as far as movie releases? I know we talked a little bit last week about, obviously this COVID thing has affected not only the Sawmill theaters, but a lot of different theaters.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, it's a whole, and it's not just in the U.S., it's a global thing too.
Sure.
China still has all their theaters closed down. I think we talked about that a little bit last week, and I looked into that. China has twice as many screens as the U.S.
Really?
And they've got a huge population too, I guess, so maybe kind of makes sense, but there's 70,000 movie screens in China that are all dark right now.
Must be all of those old Japanese Godzilla movies playing or something.
Well, it's like India too. India has Bollywood.
Oh yeah.
That's a huge industry there too, and I'm sure they're getting hit over there also.
So it's really it's affecting the movie industry globally.
Yes.
And it's as we've talked before, it's affecting sometimes some of these movies now are being released directly online rather than to the theaters now, which is, that's a strange new world for you.
Well, that's another, there's always been a 90-day window between the studios and the theaters. So they release a movie in the theaters and they wait 90 days and they can start streaming and DVD releases and everything. Well, of course, now we're in a different world, and with so many theaters closed down, the studios have been taking a lot of this stuff and just going directly to streaming, directly to DVD. They were doing a few there when we were open, where they were releasing at the same time, but that 90-day window is very important to theaters, and that's in danger now too. It's a weird one, and now with the studios are pulling movies back, and then the theaters are pulling back, and then when the theaters pull back, the studios kind of pull back. So there's this kind of give and take going on there, and it's
everybody's trying to figure out what the new normal is. Huh?
Well, the theater or the studios don't want to release a big movie to empty theaters.
I got to think though that once we get past this, and we will get past it, possibly right after the election, but once we get past this, whether it be for whatever reason, including maybe some great drugs to treat those that are affected, and or vaccines that prevent people from getting it. But once that happens, I got to think that things are going to get back to normal pretty quick, because there's nothing like going to the theater, grabbing some fresh popcorn, something cold to drink, and with the sound systems and the big screen and everything. I mean, there's nothing like watching a movie in that kind of environment.
Yeah, I do think you're right on the vaccine, though. I think that's really what we need. A lot of people are still very concerned about this, and they're not coming out, and whether or not the businesses are open, our economy is still taking a huge hit.
Well, when the things were allowed to get back to normal there for a little while, I know you'd closed down, but we're reopening, and you did the social distancing thing where you were roping off every other aisle in the theater and cutting back the maximum number of people that could be in each theater. Did you ever get to that capacity?
No.
So this is affecting a lot of people's desire to get out in public then, apparently.
I think so. Well, I see other businesses that are, people are going into, people are going out to eat.
Sure. Some gyms staying open despite the order to close.
Of course, the grocery stores and things are still full, so people are going there. It just seems like really the movie theaters have taken the biggest hit on this. And I think if we look at it going forward, it's going to be a huge hit to the industry.
Yeah, and right along with that, I think the restaurants, that's another one that, and now with the new orders to cut back on maximum capacity there to just 50%, when you're trying to manage labor cost and food cost and all of that kind of thing, I mean, it makes managing a budget difficult, to say the least.
Movie theaters and restaurants are kind of set up, they need that capacity to, and we have months that are, typically February, September are terribly slow. Every year they're just slow, and there's no big movies coming out, and it does affect it. Normally with us, we've got our, summer is our time to shine. That's when all these big blockbusters come out. So we've lost our biggest revenue months.
Wow.
And then now, July of course is gone, and I'm pretty pessimistic at this point about August.
Really?
I feel that might be another one where the studios pull back again and push these movies back into September. I'm kind of feeling like we're looking more at a Labor Day, Labor Day type of release.
One of the things that I've been watching, I think one of the kind of misleading bits of information that's out there right now is the fact that the number of cases has gone up dramatically. Well, the number of tests have gone up dramatically too. So instead, I try to focus on the number of hospitalizations and the number of deaths, and those numbers seem to be leveling off. So I mean, to me, that sounds promising.
Well,
And of course, I'm no expert.
right. Well, you look at graphs and stuff, and we see that when we were closed down, it obviously helped. Things did go down, and I'm not really sure we need to close everything down again, and that's not my call at all, thankfully. So, and I do have some sympathy for Ducey.
Sure.
A bit. I mean,
He's in a tough spot.
Sure. And there's such a wide-ranging opinion about what's going on with this stuff that he's getting it from both sides and trying to kind of keep peace and maintain our hospital systems and stuff.
Right.
So that can't be easy either.
Well, I'm used to looking at surge capacity for hospitals from the standpoint of a disaster response, and I've been involved in a lot of that over the years. But this has been, with the infectious disease. I even shared an international symposium on the Ebola virus, which was that's just a nasty thing to see. But there was an awful lot of that just kind of made sense. But it seems like there's an awful lot of conflicting information on this, and to watch the way it's been affecting business is disconcerting at best.
Well, yeah. Well, we don't know what's going on with this stuff. It is a new disease,
Sure.
And we're learning the effects. And these, some people get it and they have no symptoms, and other people end up in the hospital. It's just a strange kind of up and down, and different age groups are affected differently, and whether kids don't really seem to be affected at all, and
Right.
Yeah, like I said, I guess it's the uncertainty with this stuff that's really hurting the most. We just don't know what's going on, and like I said, I think we need that vaccine to really get some kind of semblance of normal going again.
Yeah, whatever normal is.
Yeah, anymore, I know, 2020.
So as far as movies go, are there any that were supposed to be out now that are just being put on the shelf and they're waiting to release? Or what kind of things do we have? Let's say all of a sudden all of this pandemic nonsense is behind us and we start moving forward. Are there any movies that should hit theaters right away?
Well, as of right now, we want it open on a Tuesday. I think that's the July 26th is a Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday, but we would wait until the 31st, that Friday, to open up, and that's that Russell Crowe film, Unhinged.
Oh, right.
So that is set up for the end of July, and they still are holding on to that date. Again, these things have been moved a couple times already, and I just the way things are looking right now, I'm really pessimistic about August. I think they might push those back again.
Wow.
But as it is right now, we've got Unhinged, Russell Crowe, a road rage thing. It looks pretty cool.
Sounds like my last trip to Scottsdale. Sorry.
Every trip, yeah. Mulan. Yeah, Mulan's a big one. That's a Disney film.
Right.
Live action of the animated film. And then that one has a lot of, that's one we really want to watch because it does have a, it was made partially in China too. So it's expected to do very well in China. And that's why they are watching those China markets too. And it's
Right.
one that, they spent $200 million making this movie. So
Yeah, they've got to be concerned about the current situation for sure.
Sure. And that's one, we've got, Disney has their Disney Plus out there streaming service.
Right.
So there's some concern that they might, at some point just stream it directly.
Wow.
I don't know if they will or not. $200 million, I think they need the theaters to make up that money.
I have a really nice 60-inch flat screen HD TV at home, a nice sound system hooked to it. It's not a bad place to watch movies, but I'd still rather go see it at the Sawmill Theaters.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't have anybody at home just whipping out the hot buttered popcorn.
Popcorn today too.
That's right. We got to talk about that in a second. We have to take a quick break, but there is some good news, and part of that has to do with popcorn right here in Rim Country, and your chance to get some nice hot theater popcorn this morning. We'll tell you more about that right after these words.
Now
Gotta get a couple commercials in here just for shits and giggles. Trying to pay a bill or
Pay the
two.
bills, yeah. So I'm selling popcorn.
I have to say, this, like I was mentioning earlier, this transition to here sure has been a welcome thing. Matter of fact, in the 5 years that I spent at KMOG trying to resurrect what they'd screwed up before, and trying to acquire the station, I had increased revenue by about 300%, tripled it, and never got a raise the entire 5 years. And here, I got a raise on my very first paycheck. We had, agreed to an amount, and they decided that wasn't enough. And I thought, I think I'm home.
Oh, are you going back on?
Yes.
Let's do another. Okay.
It's good to be appreciated. It's good to be appreciated.
Yeah. Welcome all of you on Facebook listening to us. Insight. You betcha. Hey, right now we are at 15 minutes past the hour of 10 o'clock this morning on KRIM's Community Spotlight, talking with Craig from the Sawmill Theaters. And we've been talking about, obviously, the theaters are closed right now because of the COVID-19 thing, and optimistic that we should be able to get back to some sense of normalcy, whatever that is, sometime in the future here. But in the meantime, aside from all the doom and gloom and, oh gosh, we're closed and all of those kind of things, there are some positive things going on. And one is you can come down to the Sawmill Theaters today and get some popcorn. And we need to talk about popcorn, which is always a favorite for most people, but also there's something else going on down there this morning that is my absolute all-time favorite, and that's donuts.
Donuts, yeah. We got the Hertz donut truck coming up.
All right.
Actually, they should almost be here.
From down the valley.
From down the valley, yeah. They're going to be in the parking lot over by the theater.
And just distributing all kinds of donuts to everybody that comes out, huh?
Yes, yeah, I think he said 144 dozen.
Is that all?
Yes, yeah.
Oh gosh, what's everyone else going to eat? 144 dozen. That something tells me we're going to make a big dent in that today.
Oh, no, they'll go quick.
Yeah.
They've come up a few times before, and it's they go pretty fast. And the other part of this too is they come up and set these things up, and then they donate some of these profits to the Humane Society.
Oh, gotta love it.
So yeah, so that's good stuff. And that was I was talking to a couple of volunteers over there today, and the Humane Society is another one that's taking a hit with this. Donations are down.
Even their resale store. I mean, there's a lot of people that won't go in there right now until this
Sure.
whole thing blows over, and they get a big chunk of their needed revenues right from their resale store.
It's difficult times, and it's one of those you don't really think about it, but the trickle down effects hit businesses that you wouldn't really associate with this.
Well, and I know with the downturn in the economy in 2008, there was nonprofits across the country that were dropping like
Sure.
flies, and I had one myself at the time that exactly what happened to that. I think people forget sometimes when it comes to those kind of changes in our economy, all of a sudden nobody's making donations to some of these groups. So
Sure.
if you have the means to do it, be thinking about some of those nonprofits here in Rim Country and how you can support them. And one way that you can even maybe do that today is by coming down to the Sawmill Theaters here in a little while and picking up some donuts. And then you also have popcorn going on today, right?
Yeah, popcorn at 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock today.
Yep.
And so how big are the bags of popcorn?
We've got two sizes. I've actually got some regular ice bags that we're filling up.
Like a 5-pound bag of ice type ice bag?
Yeah.
So-
Great big bag of popcorn
Right.
for $10, and then we got just our regular large size for $5.
Wow. And so you stop on down and
Yeah, just come on in the lobby there, and we'll just bag you up, and you can be on your way.
and the last time you did this, you'd mentioned before we went on the air today that you actually unloaded a lot of popcorn that day.
It wasn't too bad. Yeah, we had about 50, 60 people come in.
Right.
So it was good stuff.
So I mean, about the same amount of popcorn that you would sell on an average day in the theater when things were good?
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's and we're looking at. I think we'll probably keep this going then. As long as we're closed down, we'll.
Is there any sign of you guys selling bacon anytime soon? Guess not. Never mind. So now, as far as the Sawmill Theaters go, again, everything is closed down except for you're talking about possibly being able to reopen towards the end of this month, possibly.
That's
That's the
we're we're at the mercy of the governor here, and
Right.
that was one. I kind of like I said, I have sympathy for Ducey and you know, obviously some tough decisions there, but most of the theaters were already closed. You know, AMC is closed, Cinemark is closed. So when he closed movie theaters, he really only closed 4 or 5.
Well, and his press conference yesterday, again, I like to stay away from looking at just the number of cases because the number of tests has really gone up. But when you do look at the impacts on numbers of ventilators out of an existing inventory that are being used, and or number of hospitalizations and beds and ICU units and that kind of thing, I mean, those are real numbers that whether you know, really think that this is a huge problem or you think maybe it's a contrived problem, those numbers don't lie, and there's something that we should all be concerned about. And so, to go along with what you were saying, as far as a little bit of sympathy for Ducey, you know, when you make a decision and all of a sudden you see those numbers changing, it'd be hard to not feel like that's because of a decision you made before. And so, I mean, I feel for the guy. He's in a tough spot.
Sure. Well, yeah, it is. You know, we have to balance, you know, the economy with people's, you know, catching this disease, and there's so much going into it. You know how, you know, we have such weird numbers on how it affects people. So that goes up and down, and he's got to take that into account, and just the damage to the economy.
How about your employees at the Sawmill Theater? I mean, this has obviously made a big hit on everybody down there as far as the
Yeah.
you know, the theater being closed.
Well, you know, most were able to get on unemployment.
Oh, good.
You know, of course, then we brought, we had 8 or 9 of them we brought back for a month, and then we got closed down again, so now they're having to go back on that unemployment.
And there's always a lag time from the time you register until you actually
Yes,
start
yes,
receiving
yeah.
proceeds.
So hopefully they're being, you know, taken care of there, that everyone's getting by. And again, that was part of, you know, us getting back open, at least get a little, we weren't doing great when we were open. You know, and again, it's just, you're playing older movies, and then there's some great old movies, you know, like Raiders of the Lost Ark playing.
Oh, man.
I mean, that's
I'd love to see that on the big screen again.
it's a good one there, but you know, again, you're just not going to get the people coming out like they are for a new big film.
Any other talk of other movies in the production stages right now that sound like something that might knock people's socks off?
Well, you know, we were just some of the stuff that was getting ready to come out. You know, Black Widow, and
Right.
well, there's been a few big ones. Black Widow and James Bond were both coming out. Those have been pushed back into November. So they're moving some stuff around. Universal went the other route. We had a new Minions movie coming up,
Right.
and another Fast and Furious film, which are both.
How many Fast and Furious films have they done?
I think it's number 9.
9. Well, they must be making money. They wouldn't keep doing it, right?
You know, insane amounts of money. These things are, you know, $1.5 billion worldwide.
Wow.
I know. I don't know what it is with those films. They're
Because they seem, I mean, granted, call me a pessimist or whatever, but, and feel free to use whatever word you like, but, you know, the Fast and Furious movies, although great action and stuff like that, seem to be a little bit of a departure from reality.
oh, they're completely hokey.
Yeah.
You know, jumping cars from one skyscraper into another skyscraper.
Oh, you don't do that?
Yeah.
I usually do it on motorcycles.
What are the odds?
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah, it's crazy.
But you know what? I kind of hate myself for liking them. But every time I, you know, get a new one, I start watching a little bit, and I get pulled into it. And
It's kind of a guilty pleasure.
well, they're hokey, but I guess they're entertaining.
Yeah. I can't say that I didn't realize we were up to 9 on those. I didn't realize that we were that far down the road. But I've seen a number of them, and I've watched them from beginning to end.
I said
You don't fall asleep in the middle of
They're
this.
entertaining, but yeah, like I said, I kind of hate myself for liking them.
Right.
But like, you know, $1.5 billion doesn't lie. They're
Money talks.
Yeah. But anyway, so those have been pushed back. Minions and Fast and Furious, they just pushed those back into 2021.
Right.
Universal didn't even mess with those. They just got out of this cursed year.
Yeah. Yeah, 2020, what a year, right? Well,
started with such hope too. Like this could be a good year, and things are going.
I thought we'd all be seeing 2020.
Just been a nightmare from the start.
I feel like I got a fogged up pair of bifocals on right now or something, but yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
So much for seeing 2020.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so still a lot of good things going on at the Sawmill Theaters, a lot of good things getting ready to happen once again as soon as we turn the corner on this COVID-19 thing. And personally, I think based on some of the numbers just out over the last couple of days, I'm optimistic that things should get better soon, but we'll find out and then hopefully get the theater back open again soon. and get back to some normalcy for you.
Well, like I said, if people take this seriously, we've seen it does flatten out.
Mhm.
It does have an effect, and we had, I think when we opened up on Memorial Day, maybe should have waited until after,
Right.
just because it was a holiday and everyone went crazy, and I think that's kind of where we're
Right.
getting these spikes that we're seeing now.
Well, now they're, the big point of contention with a lot of people is, okay, will the schools open or not? And, they're going to get infected and bring it home to mom and dad and the grandparents.
Yeah,
And, I mean, it's hard to sift through a lot of the
Well, it is.
information. There's information overload on this one.
Well, you see a lot of benefits to getting the kids back in school and,
Sure.
and getting them going again, and you see maybe there could be some problems with it. And that's the thing, it's a new disease, so we really don't know. We're anything you're doing is kind of a, you don't have any direct evidence for it. You're taking this and
Trying to place an educated bet.
yes.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's kind of, when people's lives and the economy and everything are both at stake, it's a difficult one to decide on.
Well, here's hoping and praying that we turn the corner on this thing and get back to whatever normal is sometime soon. But in the meantime, you can have some good old normal donuts this morning, starting at what time?
You know what, they
Right
should
now?
be, you should be there anytime, definitely by 11 o'clock.
Cool. All right. So stop on down to the Sawmill Theater. And how many dozen donuts?
I think he said 144 dozen.
144 dozen. And for people that aren't familiar, the name of the donut outfit again is
Hertz.
Hertz Donuts. Hertz so good, don't it?
Yeah, they got
Um,
a cool truck there. It's an ambulance, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, that's what I've heard. But they're real popular down in the valley.
Yeah.
And have come up here to share the love, and you can come down and check out some of that. And then likewise at 4 o'clock this afternoon, stop into the Sawmill Theaters and pick up some great theater popcorn.
Yep.
And take it home and, I don't know, watch TV or something.
Yeah, I say take it and watch Netflix.
Take it home, watch the sunset. That's far more entertaining.
It kind of hurts me to say that, but
Yeah. Yeah, I saw you having a hard time just spinning out the word Netflix. Oh, well. Well, again, Craig, best of luck as we move forward on this. Hang in there. Thanks for everything that, not only with what you're doing, with the popcorn and stuff, but I mean, you folks have been a big supporter of all kinds of initiatives here in Rim Country between blood drives and everything else. And so I hope we can share the love and get back to running business somewhat normal here again soon.
That's another one. Everything's shut down there. Blood drives and things. They
Right.
can't do this stuff now, and it's
Yeah, it's a terrible bunch of stuff.
yes.
Well, hopefully we'll turn the corner here soon. So, but now next week we're looking to hopefully have everyone, all of our
The whole posse,
hometown
yes.
movie guys back in here in the studio. But keep us posted of anything else that comes up in the meantime. And of course, we'll share it with you right here on your information station, 96.3 FM, classic hits in the cool pines of Rim Country. We're K-Rim. Have a great finally Friday morning. Blah, 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 blah.
Oh.
My Facebook.